Going, gone. The Nigeria-Biafra War was supposed to have ended in January 1970, but did it? For more than 40 years now, the House of Fulani Yoruba oligarchy and the Sokoto Caliphate satanic government of Nigeria has occupied eastern region Biafra. The House of Fulani Yoruba first pretended to love the non-Igbo living in eastern region. They, in collaboration with the Sokoto Caliphate, lied to the non-Igbo and even to some Igbo that our people will be free to live their lives in Nigeria like normal human beings. Today, we ask you, have the House of Fulani Yoruba and the Sokoto Caliphate, who promised you freedom, liberation, wealth, and life more abundant, fulfilled their promise to you? People of Eastern region, are you better off today than you were 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago? Do you have more freedom now than you had 40 years ago? Do you have more liberty to pursue your businesses and live your life now more than you had 40 years ago? Are you happier now than you were 40 years ago? Do you have more peace and security now than you had 40 years ago? What has happened to your land, natural resources, and even your human resources, your educated children? Have the House of Fulani Yoruba oligarchs and the Sokoto Caliphate not stolen all of it and destroyed everything that made you a proud and respected people? What do you have now for your children and for your generations yet unborn? What legacy will you bequeath to them now? Your culture, which has been bastardized and destroyed, your wealth, which has been stolen, your children who have been turned into criminals, your land, mineral resources, water resources, natural resources, which have been forcibly taken away from you, your Christian religion, which you are losing fast and will soon become Muslims. Be honest. Tell yourself, tell your family and your children what the House of Fulani Yoruba satanic government of Nigeria has given you and your family. Go ahead, tell them. There is none. All they have given you are poverty, bondage, slavery, corruption, misery, cruelty, and miserable death. That's all they have given you. For 40 years, you and your parents have believed that the House of Fulani Yoruba will treat you like human beings and give you freedom and peace. You believed them. What do you have now? Some Igbo intellectuals and politicians believe that the House of Fulani Yoruba will eventually give them an opportunity to govern Nigeria. They had a theory that if they stayed loyal to Nigeria, they could get back into power through the back door by occupying the position of vice president first, so that they could climb to the presidency through that ladder. They even had the audacity or the stupidity to write their plan in a book written by one Igbo intellectual and politician. It is as if they believed that the House of Fulani Yoruba oligarchs and the Sokoto Caliphate were so stupid they could not read that plan in their book. So what happened when Alex Ekweme became the vice president of Nigeria and was 3 years away from succeeding Shehu Shagari? What happened? The House of Fulani Yoruba overthrew the Shagari government and handed power back to a Fulani. And that was effectively the end of Ekweme's ambition. Even Ojukwu was deceived and promised leadership of the Senate. But the oligarchs didn't even allow him to win election to the Senate in the first place, not to talk of being Senate president. They destroyed his political ambition and effectively neutralized and sidelined him permanently. Non-Igbo intellectuals and politicians in the eastern region Biafra made the same mistake that Igbo intellectuals and politicians made in 1980s and 1990s. They are fooling around with the Hausa Fulani Yoruba oligarchs and the Sokoto Caliphate. They adopted the same failed policy that the Igbo adopted in the 1980s. They believe that if they pledge loyalty to the Hausa Fulani Yoruba, they will allow them to sneak into the vice presidency and from there to the presidency. Nonsense! Hogwash! These devils are never going to allow that to happen. When the kleptomaniac idiots Olusegun Obasanjo, the Hausa Fulani Yoruba oligarchs, and the Sokoto Caliphate again dangled the position of vice president in front of the Ijo, we shouted ourselves hoarse that Jonathan Goodluck must not take the bed. Naive as he is, he swallowed the bet, hook, line, and sinker. What is he today? He is a houseboy of a schizophrenic, leprous Umaru Yaradua. That is what he is. Look what has happened over the past 40 years and learn a lesson. Antonia Nahoro, Edwin Clark, Jemshi Buri, Chibike Amechi, Laili Moke, Godswill Akpabio, Andrew Oba, Emmanuel Oba, Jonathan Goodluck, Achike Udenwa, Dora Akunyele, Ojo Madekwe, and all of you who have now bent over and are licking the buttholes of the Hausa Fulani Yoruba oligarchs and the Sokoto Caliphate. Ask yourselves, how did the Kweme, Umezoke, Joseph Wyeth, Harry Marshall, Dick Ibo, Okadibo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, and even Obafemi Awolowo, and so many others, how did they end? How did they end? In fact, what did Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe gain in his compromises and even worship of the Hausa Fulani Yoruba oligarchs and the Sokoto Caliphate? What did he gain? The Hausa Fulani Yoruba oligarchy and the Sokoto Caliphate have declared your cities, towns, and villages war theaters. Adamu, Sagir, Bello, Oluwole, Tunde, and Lawal do whatever they like in your towns and villages. They beat up and kill as many of your men as they like. They collect as many of your women as they like. Take them to their barracks, gang rape them, then demand bribe from you before they release them. They set entire villages and towns in your nation ablaze and destroy everything in sight. Sometimes they become so vicious and satanic that they actually destroy economic trees and plants like banana, etc. It is these same people with whom you are now planning to develop one Nigeria, with whom you are planning how to develop your towns and cities, how to give your people a good life. It is these same people that you are talking, that are telling you that they will be your savior. My God, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you people? You know, they say that the only person who does the same thing over and over and at the same time expects a different result is a madman. Igbo, Anang, Efik, Ijo, Ibibi, Ogoja, Ishekiri, Isoko, Ishan, Urobo, and Edo. Please stop dreaming and deceiving yourselves. It is not good for your health. The only thing that association with the House of Fulani Yoruba and the Sokoto Caliphate has brought to you and will ever bring to you are poverty, misery, and gruesome, untimely, miserable death.